not going to see probably any inbounds over us underneath this as we widen out. Maybe in storm relative, we might see a little bit. Yeah, there the storm relative. So that's taking out the motion of the storm, which is all going this way. Here are the inbound winds going down towards the radar site at Dunsville. There are the ones going outbound. Let's just take these shear markers off for a moment so we can see right here and look at the contrast a little bit better in this location here. It's a little broad circulation, but right here, those are winds moving away from the radar site, 55. Those are winds coming towards the radar site at 34. So that's essentially 89 miles an hour moving in opposite directions across this region. And if we change this off, because of the distance that is fairly high up in the atmosphere, we might see a little bit of something from the radar out of Sterling. Okay, Sterling is showing 36, 37. That's straight velocity storm relative. And again, that's 12 and 15, but it's not picking up the same points. Could look at a different spot. But again, we are seeing the differences. Sterling being in the other direction, they would be opposite in their rotation speed. So that's one thing to look at right there. So again, this is radar detected rotation showing up right here for this storm. And again, we've had the rotating cylinders on top of it to show you what is going on. The two storm relative locks, they just disappeared for me. They may come back. Of course, we're looking at a Sterling right now. If we change it over to Wakefield, might see those a little bit better for you there. All right, but there it is. Here is our shear marker associated with the storm. So this shear marker is telling me what is going on with this storm right here. This is an indication, okay, Dunsville, Welford, Kennard, Tidewater, Everton, Irondale, Indian Field. Look at the characteristics of the storm, all right? East-northeast, 40 miles an hour. Shear, 69 miles an hour. The top of the storm, 14,000 feet, which means it is a low storm. You hear about all these big tornadoes out in Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas. These guys are all like, when they get them out there, they're 50,000 feet up. This one's only 15,000 feet up. Viper tornado index 3.9. Matt, that's actually the highest number we have seen all day.
It is correct, yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
The highest number we have seen all day from these storms through here. So that is one thing to consider with this storm as it stands right now. So again, that's the Viper Tornado Index on the storm with this. Let's go ahead and we will take these off, come back and look at the storm. Again, Dunsville, it is about to cross the river. Okay, because you can see basically the shoreline right there, the Potomac River. So this is about to move over the Potomac River and then head over into the northern neck. Again, tornado warning. It is portions of King and Queen, the southern portions of Essex County, and then you're going into Richmond and Northumberland County. Parts of those, that is until 4:15 this afternoon. Matt, what you got?
I'm just looking at a couple of different areas south right now, JB. Now, no warnings in this area, but Chester to Petersburg, I don't really like this kind of loose rotation that I might be seeing here up in the sky near Dunlop Boulevard Crossroads, Colonial Heights. You know what's here, John, or what used to be here. You were on the air back then.
Oh, yes.
This is the old Walmart area, right? So not that we want to say that that's what we're looking at here, but this just looks a little concerning to me as I'm looking at what might be here just a small chance of a slight little notch as you look at this radar right there as I just drew in there. So we'll have to wait and see if this truly develops. Shear rate was kind of hinting at something. You can actually see it now just developed a little bit more right over, let's go ahead, my pen tool off here for a quick second here and let's reposition. Right over 95 near Woods Edge Road. We were talking about those numbers just a second ago. 12 for shear rate there. So again, we're going to be watching this very carefully to see how this develops. There isn't, again, a tremendous amount of shear with this. If we just get real lucky and we pin that one and we pin that, we roughly have 50 mile per hour or so gate-to-gate shear with this. It's nothing that strong.
It's
something that's concerning.
It's not screaming much, but you know that's right by the auto dealerships right there on I-95 going southbound. But remember the tornado April 2008, which was the third one
in that same area.
Third one to hit the Kmart. Down there at South Park. First one was like 1990, then 2003, then 2008.
Kmart, you just flash back, you know.
I know it flashed back. People go, what Kmart? What's that? But that actually was a store. That actually was it. And I look at the little notch. Go back down to your southwest. Right there. See the little rotation right there?
Near Kimmages? Yeah.
Yeah, right there. Basically by Deep Run in that location there. So there's something going on. There may be something going on down there.
Take a quick look at some of
as we have right here. This is where I'm taking Matt down to take a look at right down here. This storm that is down here has got a little notch on it just north north of the James River right there. I am a little concerned about this, so Matt's going to interrogate that storm.
So interestingly enough, they just actually, for areas west of that, just issued a severe thunderstorm warning that includes that area we're just looking at here. Yeah. This is for Prince George County, for the city of Petersburg. This is until 4:45. I'll put that center of the screen there for you. That also includes Dinwiddie County. And you see the line of storms here. And certainly, John, again, a couple of things to just note here. This has got some pretty heavy rain in it, too.
Right.
We talked about the potential for maybe, let me just turn that warning off for just a second here, potentially some flash flooding today. You're seeing 6.5 inches. Now, there may be some hail mixed in with that. So you see 6 inches. I'll mark a couple, 2.5, 2.3. So again, interesting to note, we might see the potential for a little flash flooding with this. Again, that's not a major concern at this point because it's not truly happening, but just something to point out. But we're watching every aspect of every storm.
Every aspect of the storm. We're going around. Again, this is a storm here, and this is probably the actual front coming through, the secondary development of this system here coming by. The main core of it, of course, you've got a strong storm there over by Wakefield, and then right here, this is the warning that is up by Tappahannock right now. There is the cylinder. Again, we haven't seen any confirmation yet of anything being reported from the storm, although, Matt, I don't like this. See the weak echo right there?
Yeah, right in the center.
Right in the center. That is not a good sign, folks. That is not a good sign over us here. And let's see, we do have the tornado debris signature turned on.
We do. We have them all on
for that storm. So again, right here, look at the weak echo right there in that location ongoing, as you can see right now. So this is now over. It is out of Essex County. So folks, King William, King Queen County, Essex County, I think you're now safe. Okay, give it to 405, but I think you're fine over there. So now we're in the area by Farnham, and Callio is up here. Well, they used to have the Firemen's Parade. They don't have that anymore up there. But this is the bounded area that we see right here ongoing in this. If we go to the storm
shear rate just popped right in
shear rate just
right
popped
there.
over it right there. Okay, yep, shear rate just popped right in that spot there. So that's up probably to, what is it, 13?
13 is pretty solid, yeah.
Pretty solid number up there. I was going into the storm relative velocity to look at this, and again, here's that broad rotation on the storm relative velocity here as we come through. You can see right here and right here. If we go to query those numbers right in this location there, you can see the number there. Though that just disappeared on me because the radar just updated, but we'll go back to it and take this location here just to the west of Farnham. That's 57. And then right here, this bright green right there is 32. That one checking in at 25. So again, 57, 32, that's nearly 90 miles an hour of shear ongoing inside that storm as it continues to move off quickly to the northeast at this time. So again, this warning is in effect until 4:15. It's 3:58 right now. This system is cruising along, so I'm going to assume probably by 4:10 it's going to be here. So Callio and Bundick and over to Claresville, you need to be ready for a tornado warning to be issued for you. 406
is where we're looking for Callio there. Yeah. Morrison's Corner, 406. So those are the areas, John. And again, you said this is moving. This will be by 4:10. This is moving into the Potomac and then Chesapeake Bay. Bye.
You still get a little bit more when you go east to Cali.
Well, you do, but not much. I mean, maybe as the crow flies, a couple of feet there, right? But
I would say 4:15.
It's all done.
Potomac, and it's headed over towards Maryland.
But certainly something that we need to concern with are, we're Tutuski and Callio, Bundick, as you said, those areas, 405 to 410. That's going to be the case for you there. Just looking at shear rate again, popping right there in the center of that, John.
Yep.
If I can grab it, I get lucky. I'm a little bit off. Marking 6.8 just north of that. Let's see if I can grab that one there. It's going to be tough because I'm a little too zoomed out. We'll zoom in here and we'll do a little better job. And there we go. What you'll notice there, that's running about 11. So was that 13.9 at one point, now down to 11. It's still showing signs of good rotation.
And those things do tend to rotate too as they move through with the various scans coming by. So again, they've extended now a severe thunderstorm warning off to the east here, okay, from this storm. So what they're doing is they're putting a warning in place, okay, over here as we go through Northumberland County until 4:45 p.m. They're putting that warning in place to alert you there is severe weather coming. And of course, we did the same thing with Tappahannock. And then when we saw the circulation developing, that was when we issued the tornado warning was issued. So here is the storm right now, as you can see, off to the northeast of us, as you can see, moving over towards Ludleville, towards Village, as you see, what is that? Totsky, I think is what it's spelled right there. And there is the heavy rain associated with it. And again, right here, this is the area of concern. So you've got the heavy rain up here, and look at the little appendage going back down this side. We will shut the cylinders off. Take those off as we go there. So you can see right here. There's the appendage on the back side. This is where you've got the winds potentially circulating right around here. Or if not a wind circulating, you've got strong straight line winds coming out of this system as it moves through. Again, we are south of kind of south and west of 360 up here, because as you remember, 3 US 360 goes up through Tappahannock to Warsaw, and then it bends down and comes all the way down through the northern neck down to the coastline over there as we get right over here down to here. That's where 360 comes to an end. So it's kind of underneath that curved portion of 360 right now in portions of the northern neck. Meanwhile, down to the south, strong storm over here by West Point. We got a new severe thunderstorm warning here. This covers portions of Sussex County over into Surrey County. That is over here. That is in effect until 4:45 p.m. Surrey and Sussex County. That's for this storm that is over by Waverly. And again, Matt, there's a little something going on down here. And boy, we're real close to the radar. Yeah,
that's the problem, is when you get this close to the radar, it gets a little crazy.
A little wonky, because right around the radar, folks, just because we've got, we call it a donut hole, okay? There's a hole right around the actual radar site where they can't see anything, just because they're actually shooting under the storms instead of way above like they are far off. But this is of concern right through here, and especially this little piece developing down on the south side of this. That concerns me a little bit. Shear rate, I don't know what it's showing up there, right there. If we see any, ooh, look at that shear rate right there. Right over as we head over into
the Homeville
area, and oh boy, do you remember what formed in Homeville? That's where that's where the Waverly tornado in 2016
that's right, exactly right.
Came right up from Homeville, moved up there. Not saying history is going to repeat, folks, okay? But that was right in the area where that storm formed as it moved off and came through. So that is a little bit concerned. We've got some shear going on there.
10.9 on the shear on that one there,
10.9. So that is something that is worrisome right there on that storm. And again, that warning in effect until 4:45. So down in the Waverly area, folks, pay attention to the skies right now for the next few minutes in case this gets going, in case this starts all of a sudden ramping up really quick on us here. So that's one to watch. Here are the ones off to the west now coming in towards the Tri-Cities. Okay, there's, Chester, Colonial Heights, Hopewell. So we've got one storm right on top of Interstate 95 right now, down by South Park Mall, headed a little further up to the north. That's probably some heavy downpours for them. Stronger part of the storm as we go down basically through Sunderland and head on down here, down into the southern portions of DeWitt. So we are along into the west of Interstate 85 right now. We are over by Dinwiddie County High School. That area right there, seeing what's going on. And of course, you get the storms that went through Emporia. Those have weakened, and they're actually in the Southampton County out of our way. Back up to the tornado warning that is in effect, as you can see. Have not seen any updates on it, and do not see any special statements that have come out on it yet. Here is the circulation by Totoski and south of Callio right now. So it's moving over toward between Callio and Claravelle as we speak at this moment, headed in this direction. So you can see what is going on through here. There is that notch on the backside of the storm. Callio getting some heavy rainfall as we speak right now up in your area right through here ongoing. So you can see 5 inches an hour back there right on top of Callio. It's an inch per hour as you can see on what's going on. Matt has got that storm sliced. And Matt, I was going to ask you if you could take that, slice it in the direction the storm is moving.
Move it in the direction it's moving, sure. So the storm is actually moving along this direction here. So we give it a slice, and as we turn it on its side, since John, you asked, we'll back it out just a bit. So some of the tops, this is interesting, running about 33,000 feet here. Looks like we got a spike here, a low section, but you've also noticed what's here. This is our cylinder. So as the storm is moving, we're moving the cylinder with it. There certainly, again, could be some rotation in this just by the fact it's concaving in, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
The one thing, and I want to walk.
Yeah, go ahead. Come on over.
The one thing, come over here, that I was looking for to see is a lot of times with these storms to see if it is tilted in this direction, because if it's tilted out ahead, that's a strong indicator of a severe or possibly tornadic storm. There's that spike again that you see developing.
It's really interesting the way that's done. And the other thing I was looking at, John, let me just pull this back up before I sliced it for you. We actually had, this was kind of a cool look just to give you, so this is interesting. The leading front edge, you could see the way the heights are spiking in here. This is where we're looking. Again, this is a little bit more of a backward tilt, if you will. So again, maybe some rotation for sure, but not coming down to the ground. You want to see more of a forward tilt.
More of a forward tilt. Usually a severe thunderstorm, it's got a forward tilt because the strong winds aloft are pulling things out of the top. Okay, so what's going on there? So that's the storm here that we are looking at, again, up in 3D that we showed you. Again, this is the tornado warning that is in effect. That's in effect as we go through here. Again, I just clicked on it. Shear storm, 69 knots. The VTI has come down. So that's in a way is a good sign out there at 2.6. Here's some of the locations it's headed to. Again, Village by 408, Burton's Corner by 410, Walker's Corner by 411, Hyacinth at 411, Callio at 4:21 p.m., 4:11 p.m. So again, Callio right around, we were saying Callio 4:10-ish. All right, that's it, and then it's going to move off to the east. And it's going to head over towards Bundick and over towards Lake, and then boom, off in the Potomac River, and basically out of our hair here. So that's the one good thing we want to see going away from this. All right, let's go ahead and take this off for you folks, and then we can go ahead and come back into the shear rate on the storm. That shear rate's again moving to the east of the cylinder right now. It takes the cylinder a couple seconds to catch up to it. All right. But there it is, just to the south of Callio as we speak. Right at the boundary of this warning is where that happens to be. Right at the boundary of it, that's where it continues over the area. Meanwhile, you can see, whoop, the tornado warning's been extended. There it is, right there. Tornado warning's been extended till 4:30 p.m. for Northumberland County. So they just extended that warning.
John, if we're going to stop, again, severe thunderstorm warning here. This is the Homeville area, back down toward Wakefield. Remember, we're right at the donut, but look at the shear rate has really jumped up here, 11 and 12. This is something really concerning. It was about 10 earlier, so
now
it's increasing.
Now it's ramping up.
So,
it's ramping up.
And the problem is, again, when we look at this, it's very tough, and I'll pull it up here just so our viewers can understand, but it's very tough to really be able to see the radial velocity, either the SRV or the standard velocity, because we're just too close to the radar, right? So the radar is right here. My storm is sitting here, but the beam, if I can do this, and I need a little luck to get that to hold there, the beam is actually underneath everything. So one of the things we could do is by using shear rate, wow, that just blew up right there quite a bit too, really gives us that real extreme low-level look at what's going on here. Some new numbers, 17.2, 15.2. We could be looking at, for certainly here, again, this is down the Homeville area, moving closer to Wakefield, up along 460, South County Drive, Waverly. This is the concern of maybe some very strong straight-line winds that could do just as much damage as a tornado. We've seen that time and time again. So this is going to be something we're going to watch and focus in on. Again, right now, this is still a severe thunderstorm warning, and I'll just tap it for you. This is until... let's see, let's grab the wrong thing there. There we go, grab that. Until 4:45. So again, this is something we're going to watch carefully, John. I know we got to talk more about that tornadic storm.
Right. And now the other thing, you're seeing all those individual little red dots when you get very close to the radar site. The radar that comes out, it's got basically boxes of data, and they're very small when you're real close to the radar site there. So here's the storm, the tornado warning that's been extended to the east, off to the northeast. This is the shear rate. Its shear rate is on top of Callio right now. Okay, if we take a look at the regular reflectivity for you to show you what's happening at this point right here, you can see that. And I want to shut the warning off just to get that out of the way. You can see right here by Callio, we've got heavy rainfall ongoing. The circulation, the weakness is probably a little further down to the south. If we look at storm relative velocity in this location here, all right, again, a little folding going on here. There's a lot of outbounds in this location right here. Let's flip it over and take a look out of Sterling so we can take a look here. So the colors are going to reverse because the radar is the top of the screen instead of the bottom. Right here, look at the strong circulation being detected on Sterling's radar. That's located here again. There's Lotsburg right here. So Callio, this is probably 360 right here in this spot. And here, right here, folks, there is somewhat of a gate-to-gate ongoing right here. Whoops, right here in this spot.
Tornado warning, Waverly.
Tornado warning.
For Surrey County. This is the same thing we've been talking about the whole time,
Same thing we've been talking about. Yep,
yeah.
Tornado warning for Waverly, folks. Okay, let's shut that off. Take it up here. We'll come back here. Again, we're going to show you the circulation on this storm right here in this point. This is the area right here. And again, you see right here the circulation we've got there ongoing. Okay, we will pixel query it for you here. So again, there may be something right here. These are moving towards the top of your screen at 50 miles an hour. These are moving down at 54 miles an hour. This is a gate-to-gate right here, folks. Now, from Sterling, this is shooting way up in the sky, but over by Callio, you should be in your safe place right now. I'm not trusting that there's not actually something going on right there as we speak at the moment, okay? So be alert for that ongoing with the source. So right here in the Callio area, Sterling's radar, again, shooting higher up than Wakefield's radar, but it is telling me there is a gate-to-gate shear in that spot. If I change the data over to storm relative data out of Wakefield, it's a little further off to the east. So something's going on there. Let's widen the view out here. We are going to come down, way down, all the way down here, down towards the Wakefield area. So there is Croker, there is Jamestown. Wakefield's going to be right down here in Waverly. This storm is passing just off to the east right here. This is where the new tornado warning is now.
It's in effect until 4:45, John.
4:45, right here.
Right under the V in Waverly on shear rate. That's the actual, what I think is going to be the rotation of this, right? So I'm actually just spotted that. 14.1 is what I'm marking on shear rate. And then if they're moving at about 45 miles per hour, so I'm going to just throw a track on this for our viewers. It's actually now just skipped a little bit to the east here. Let me clear that and get a better track on this. So it's now east of Waverly, again, moving at about 45 miles per hour. You can see we're talking about areas like Lazy Oak Corner 424, Alliance 432, Blizzard's Corner 434, and then it goes on, again, Surrey and Sussex County until 445. That's
and you get when you get to Scotland, you're by the ferry that takes you over to Jamestown and Williamsburg.
Yeah,
so that area right through there. So again, Williamsburg, Scotland, Jamestown ferry. You're going right up through here over to taking probably maybe on the southeastern side, if it was to extend through over to Williamsburg, which would take you over towards Busch Gardens in that location.
But this is the key, John. We keep talking about shear rate. Shear rate is the early detector. This is why we have it, folks, to show you the rotation before storm radial velocity shows it, before base velocity shows it, before anybody else can show it to you. John and I can show it to you first. And we were watching this saying, this doesn't look good, this doesn't look good, for 5 to 7 minutes. And then the National Weather Service said, hey, you know what, that doesn't look good. Yeah, we got that. So this is really important. That's why we have the technology here, the Viper technology. There's a reason for it, John. We've seen it time and time
we know all about it. It was from Florence when the storms came through here. The boss walked in here when we had a tornado go within half a mile of the television station that way, and he said, we got to get some better stuff in here. We got to get some better stuff in here. And that's why we went out and made a huge investment in this technology. Here is a storm right now, again, with the radar.
John, want to go back to, are you up in the Northern Neck right now?
I'm not there. I can go up to the Northern Neck.
Okay, from the National Weather Service, there's a possible tornado on the ground in Northumberland County heading toward Louisetta. Second-hand report of debris in the air. Nothing confirmed yet. So while we're looking at that, why don't we take a look at CC on that, which is, of course, what's in the air, the debris, the stuff flying, and see if we see anything.
Way over here.
It's kind of interesting here.
Way over here. Well, okay, right there, right here. Just south of Callio. Okay, there was one little spot that looked like it was a little different. And again, this is maybe not a good picture. And generally with correlation coefficient, which is what this CC is, it's trying to tell you how uniform things are in the atmosphere. The less uniform they happen to be, the better chance that we may have stuff that's junk that's in there. It's not all raindrops. Let's go ahead and use this. Maybe take a look at a Sterling.
So look at a Sterling. You have a yellow dot there in the center, just off of between Harry Hogan and Coward. Kind of just popped it up there for you.
Yeah, right there.
0.922. So as John was saying, if it's rain, it's 1.0. When it starts to get to sleet or hail, you're 0.95. When you start to drop below that, you start to see other things. Maybe it's pine, or maybe it's leaves, if there's more leaves on the trees, right, in a later spring or summer. When we start seeing, and I think back to the Florence, right, where we had the Dominion Flooring Company, we saw it down to 0.65.
Right.
That was roof and material in the air.
And another hit back here, but that's outside the storm.
Right.
Tyler, just yell out what you're reading right there.
Just that the warnings are going to be canceled.
For?
Richmond County?
Richmond County. Yeah, okay. All right, that sounds good.
And also for Nottoway and Brunswick.
Nottoway and Brunswick.
Those are severe thunderstorm warnings,
That's
right?
the severe thunderstorm warnings down there. So here's the tornado warnings that we have in effect. This is the one in the northern neck. Okay, where again we've got a tornado reported up through here. And again, I'm looking from Sterling up in this location. These are the warnings up here. This is the storm by Callio, because we're trying to get between radar sites. Unfortunately, I don't have dialed in the Andrews Air Force Base Terminal Doppler, which actually gave us some nice views from the tornado a couple of years ago up through there. Unfortunately, we don't have access to that data right now set up for us here across the region. Again, the good news is the storm is moving away. This storm in a couple of minutes is going to be away right here. Okay, it's going to be away from, essentially away from the area. It's going to be off the coastline, so this is just reaching the coast. Claryville, this little circulation right here, that would be a little bit of a concern right there. Northern part of that storm's out of the way. This is storm relative velocity. This is shear rate for you here. The shear rate has now moved off towards the northeast. So I think, Matt, for the northern neck, anybody who is west of 360 up there,
you're fine.
You're fine. I think you live west of 360, you're fine. Of course, that warning was set to expire, the first one at 4:15. This will probably be off the coastline, I'm thinking by about 4:23. The threat will be over up there along the coast over in the northern neck. So I think that one is pretty much done and over with there for here. Again, down to the south. Okay, by Litwalton, you've got a heavy thunderstorm there, but I'm not seeing any real shear associated with it. Strong shear, a little bit of minor shear down here, a little further on down to the south. That is ongoing in this location right here. 7, which is, that's strong gusty winds right now. We have to watch to see if that is going to ramp up. Meanwhile, we come down to the south here, take you all the way down to our storm that is down by Surrey, down here by Dendron, north of Wakefield. So there's 460, north of 460, the peanut place is right there in Wakefield. Okay, and then we've got this shear.
That's where I think our rotation is going to be in that shear you're looking at there, John.
Yeah, right in here. This is where our rotation is going to be. We're not seeing any cylinders picked up on it, but it's probably because it's
against the radar site.
It's right up against the radar site. Yeah. So this is just this is almost sitting on the ground.
Exactly right. But I have the track up here for you. I used those markers there. So Surrey 430, Blizzard's Corner 435, Scotland, as you said, the Ferry Yard. Then you're crossing over and you're in Jamestown. So again, at that point, we're giving it off to the folks out in the Tidewater.
We kind of love Williamsburg. we kind of love Williamsburg.
Because Jacqueline's family's from there. You're right.
Jacqueline's family's from there, and I've got the Duke of Gloucester Street Challenge coming up in 2 Saturdays down there.
Oh, you running again? That's a shocker.
Running down, me and 1,500 of my crazy friends. Okay, we'll be running that, but that down there, and of course the area around the Blue Talon Bistro, so this is the area. It's getting close now to the coastline, getting close to the James River right here is where this circulation is. And again, we're so close into the radar site, it is somewhat, the circulation and the radar returns a little bit deformed, but that's going to take us over, and then we're going to come up over as we go across. You can see Shirley's Mills in this area, Dendron, and then we're going to get over into Jamestown here and into Williamsburg in this location. So again, this is now moving through Surrey County, very close to the nuclear power plant. That's the other thing too that's also got to worry about with this. Meanwhile, let's go back off to the west. We want to show you the storms here that are coming through Petersburg and Colonial Heights. Again, these look like just heavy thunderstorms right now. With their severe thunderstorm warnings have been in effect for those areas. We can turn it back on for you and show you what's happening. So you can see by Hopewell, as you can see, we've got the severe thunderstorm, so we've got the Federal Correctional Institute right here. This is just east now of South Park Mall, which is right over right here in Colonial Heights, and then Petersburg headed over to the east towards Fort Lee. We've got what used to be Fort Lee, now Fort Greg Adams now, I believe, is there, and then down here as we head towards Virginia Hill and further on down the south, got some heavy returns right there. Would be concerned, maybe some gusty winds, not showing anything bad. Velocity data, got some gusty winds there. Shear, minimal shear, although we've got a little spot right here. Okay, that's picked up a little bit right there. There's looks to be a little red dot here. Actually, it's just the road. So this is probably under 10 across this region. So again, the warning for the northern neck, I think we're almost going to be done with it in a couple of seconds. I think the storm's going to be out of the way and headed into the ocean, or well, the Potomac River and then the Chesapeake Bay, basically the ocean. So that's right here. Yeah, and actually, as you can see here, Sterling has just issued a new tornado warning. That's over on the other side, over into Maryland. That's the southern part of Maryland. So that's a new warning over there. So the warning has leaped the coastline, severe thunderstorm warning in here. So again, in the northern neck, heavy rainfall still continuing south as we go over into Lancaster County over there and the southern part of Northumberland County. And we do have severe thunderstorm warnings here until 5 p.m. That's Northumberland, maybe a little part of Lancaster County. And then over here, this tornado warning is about to expire. We can say that that one's done and over with because that system
it's out in the water.
It's out into the water now. So moving away from there. And then further on down to the south, if we slide on down to the south here, let's clip you and turn you off and get rid of that. And then we'll come down here, and again, you get the storms going through by Urbana, Saluda, West Point, all the way down. Again, storm here in Charles City County, that may be a little bit of a concern to show also right there, as you can see, ongoing. So you've got that storm here. No warnings on this storm right here in Charles City County. You get the storm that's over by Hopewell, but as we hear over by Ruthville, that's starting to look a little strong right there, and I don't like the curvature of this storm that's ongoing. Shear rate, nothing, got a little minor shear here. Charles City South, got a little more storm relative velocity data, not showing terribly across the region here and over here. So this is, again, these are strong thunderstorms that we've got continuing over in areas around the Tri-Cities. Hopewell moving on down, as you can see. So we're also down southeast. So we're down by New Bohemia, Sacred Heart of New Bohemia, which is the Czechoslovakian, Slovakian Catholic Church right there at the intersection of basically 156 and 460.
Just so you know that you mentioned this, the tornado warning for Northumberland has been expired by the National Weather Service as of 4/21, so that is not an issue anymore, as we talked about there. So the only active tornado warning is this one still in Wakefield. And John, I know we're still close to the site here, but we might be starting to see something wrap there. Is that what
that's a possibility. That's a possibility. We've got something wrapping up here.
Looks a little more ominous now, north of Dendron, which would be in the center of that warning. So let me just take a quick look here.
Yeah, here it is right here. There is an appendage here, and traditionally, folks, when you look at it, a tornadic type storm, okay, would have a hook in it like this,
right?
Kind of like the number 6, all right, and really what this area here is referred to. This I'm making the big circles around it. That's called the debris ball. That's where stuff gets sucked up. So essentially what you've got going on, you have rain, you would have hail over here on this side, H. You've got rain up through here, and then right in here, you've got the T. So heavy rain, hail on this side, and then the tornado, and then that's debris. All a result of that, and folks, trust me, my artwork is not very good. Never got good grades in art in school. So, but that's the storm here.
For northeastern Sussex has been canceled.
Right, because it's now outside of that area.
It's out of Sussex.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate that.
So that's been canceled out of Sussex, and that was the northeastern part, but was really never really in Sussex.
Right, it was right in the
Southeastern Essex County has been canceled.
Correct. Yeah, that's the northern neck. Right. Yep. Thank you, Tyler.
So, okay, so we've got that, as you can see, ongoing here. We can put a storm track on this. Let's widen the view out a little bit.
I did that for you over here, John.
You did that over there? You got the storm track right there.
So just kind of looking at that potential 6, as you said, taking the front edge of that and leading it out, 45 miles per hour. Lazy Corner, right about now, you need to be in your tornado-safe space. You go to moorings at 427, Surrey at 431, 434 in Alliance. Blizzard's Corner also looking at 434. You know, John, we've mentioned this a couple of times, and maybe I should just kind of bring this up for people. What is that tornado safe space, right? Well, houses, you might have a basement, you might not. If you have a basement, that is the #1 place to go. Get downstairs. make sure you are protected and stay safe. But many houses don't have a basement, so we want to cut our roof off. We want to look at the lowest level here, and we want to go to the smallest interior room. That's going to be this room right here, not the one that's against the exterior wall. Why the smallest room? More beams around you, better structure to protect you from potentially flying debris and maybe the walls collapsing in. Stay away from windows. The old folklore of let me open my windows and equal pressure, that does not exist, folks. Houses are not built airtight. You run the risk of actually having the glass below in your face than anything else happening. So again,
and the other thing, a lot of localities made that if you have a basement in your house, you must have an exposed wall, and people have got the glass, the sliding glass doors there, and that's terrible, terrible because it reduces the structure. Heather Hope, who of course is over on the other side of the studio right now, used to work in Oklahoma, and they would tell you in Oklahoma when the bad weather's coming, you head to the Frady hole, which is either down in the basement. A lot of people don't have. A lot of homes in Oklahoma now have to have safe rooms inside of them. They
really
have
smart
a
for
safe
sure.
room built inside of
But
them.
again, that's just the
Report of wind damage out of Essex County and Brays Fork, by the way.
okay. What was the speed on those winds, Tyler?
Just says wind damage. Probably trees knocked down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some power lines down. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got that. That's up in the northern neck right there. So you can see here's the storm by Dendron. It's again, this little appendage is kind of lost. There's a weak echo area. There's Surrey. So the nuclear power plant is right over here. And again, this storm potentially headed up towards the Williamsburg area right now, as you can see. And then meanwhile, back off to the west, here's what's going on as we head over towards Charles City. We head east of Petersburg. So Petersburg, this severe thunderstorm warning is still in effect for you, but most of the action now is east of downtown, as you can see. So it's east of the downtown area. It's actually not too far away. The very back end of this is over by Blandford Cemetery, back where many, many moons ago, you know, our studios were actually located down there. Okay. And then right here, we've got heavy rain by New Bohemia, maybe some strong gusty winds ongoing with that storm. And again, this is just a plain old severe thunderstorm from what we see right now. Again, our shear rate is not looking absolutely huge on this from this storm, although, you know, we got one little spot right here by New Bohemia, but that's just the bright green. We got this area out here in Prince George that's spiked up, but this again is very close to the radar site. So I want to see if there's anything on there in the actual reflectivity. No, there's nothing in there in the reflectivity, so that's just picking up turbulence in the atmosphere right now. So these storms right here are working their way off to the east in this direction. So they're going to go along basically between 460 and Route 10 through eastern Prince George. Claremont, you know, Claremont is one of those places for some reason always gets the worst of the weather.
It gets the flooding from any coastal system,
storms.
comes back in, the water comes out.
Yep.
It has the potential for tornadoes. It just seems like, you know, beautiful place though.
Yeah, wonderful place, wonderful place. But you got this storm to the southeast, you the ones coming in from the west. It's almost like, you know, which one of the two is going to affect us. Again, this storm now, that's southeast of Claremont, so now it's getting right over here. There's Jamestown, okay?
John?
Yes?
We've gotten reports, this is from the National Weather Service, of structural damage, multiple homes, northwest of Heathville toward Callao and Lotsburg in Northumberland County. So if any of our producers are hearing us now, we need to probably dispatch a crew there. I know it's an hour and 15 minutes.
Hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. Got
to get up to Heathville, Callao while it's still light. Again, damage in multiple homes, structural damage that is in the northern neck, Heathville and Callao, Lotsburg area. That is that tornado we were tracking. Came back on the air.
And that's just, you know, which our reporter goes, folks, just get on 360 and go. We'll call you when we get the specific locations in this area. Okay, right here, just east of West Point. Look at the curvature developing inside this storm right here by Shackleford. So as you get up to Shackleford, that's where 33 and 17 get ready to come together. Okay, as you head up here, you go up to Shackleford's and then go over to Glenn's. That's the junction between the highway. Got a notch right here inside the storm. Shear rate looking over in this spot right here as we speak. Got a little bit of shear right there north of Shackleford's. That's a nice bright green. Okay, it's not like the red that we saw right there, but here's the area here. Okay, in this location right here. We'll go ahead and query that for you. And you see that's about 8.9. Again, so the shear's not huge there, but that's something to watch with this storm that's developing. Again, the air is very warm over here in the eastern part of the viewing area for us, and basically southeastern part of the state. That's where it's lined up for all of this to occur. They have tornado warning, by the way, up here, okay? That's expired. That storm is now over here into the southern portions of Maryland. Severe thunderstorm warning, though, as you can see here, and again by Burgess. That's Burgess and over towards Brown Store. Heavy storm for you there. Not much shear being reported with it, however, right here. Very little shear. That's the low end. And again, that's coming through McNeil's Corner, Mount Olive. So keep your eye to the sky right there for the possibility of some strong damaging winds in that spot. There's Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock, you'll watch these storms coming across this one. Coming across from Urbana. That's going to head over towards Irvington, head over towards the Kilmarnock area, and then again down to the south. Here is the current tornado warning that we have in effect right here. That is the storm that's coming out of Surrey, starting to extend its way up north over towards Jamestown. So it's going to move into Jamestown. It's going to move, it comes up on this side of Jamestown. It's going to affect Ford's Colony out there, be on the east side of Ford's Colony as we go into Wakefield. And look at the notch right here inside the storm. That's an inflow notch, folks, okay? Right there. That's air being, whoop, it just moved, but that was air being pulled in into that system right in that location. Just updated and slid off to the north. So I would say the shear in here, yeah, still going a little bit. Again, it's hard to tell because we're so close to the radar site right there. And the velocity, storm relative velocity's got a few inbounds as it's coming in, and when you go out to the outbounds, you see the outbounds. That's in that area where it's too close to the radar site to be super helpful across the region. Back to the west, heavy rain over New Bohemia. Kimmage is getting heavy rain right now. And this severe thunderstorm warning, that severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, that's in effect until 4:45 p.m. That's Prince George's, back down into the city of Petersburg, back down into Dinwiddie, you know, western part of Dinwiddie, west of 85, you're fine. You can see right here as we go down towards Templeton and Carson. My daughter's college roommate was from right there, Rachel Gitman. And that's that area right here pretty much is going to clear over Interstate 95 in the next few minutes. Meanwhile, back down to the south. I'll take the warning off for you here, and we will show you. We've got a couple other regular storms here. So this, folks, right here is basically, here's like line number 1, here's line number 2, and then up here we got a few leftovers coming through. And once we get done with this, folks, we're going to get this out of here. It's just going to be windy and chillier for the next couple of days, but we just got to make it through probably about the next 90 minutes or so before things begin to improve over us here across the region. So once again, the main threat is this tornado warning that is down to the south. It is out of Sussex County right now. They've been cleared out of it. Severe thunderstorm warning, we don't worry about that. It's the tornado warning, which is now Surrey County only. Again, that storm is headed in towards James City County very quickly. So for those of you watching us in James City County, and we have people who do watch us there, and Williamsburg, that's going to be headed for you. And then we'll be watching our severe thunderstorms that are ongoing here, and the other ones that are up in the northern neck right now. So you can see up here in the northern neck, again, the tornadic storm is gone. It's out of the way. It has moved through, but again, we've got reports of damage up in portions of Northumberland County with homes damaged up there, unfortunately for people. And then we've got the storm that's coming in over towards West Point. I know Matt's looking fervently.
I'm looking for anything to make sure that we're not missing anything. And really, the only thing is, I mean, this last little tail leaving Surrey County, and that's it. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, John, this goes until 4:45, but we could probably say this is done.
I think it is done.
Yeah, for that matter, right? So that's good news. And I've really been looking at this stuff. You've been talking about Petersburg, Hopewell, Points East. I'm not really seeing anything even switch up with that right now either. No real good velocity data, no real shear rate either. So those are the things that, you know, while John's looking at the one for you, I'm scanning the rest of Central Virginia to make sure that, hey, we're on top of everything for you. So that's kind of how we work as a team. And again, not seeing anything really other than just strong winds, heavy downpours,
those would be the damage reports.
And the warning just was removed from...
Just removed from there. And check out the damage reports up there by Ashland and by... Those would be wind damage.
Those are the ones. So the one in Ashland, this is the one on
that's the one by Randolph-Macon.
Yep, exactly. So those are trees down there. And then the other one was the trees uprooted at Lee we talked about earlier. That was estimated time from radar was 3:05. We showed that picture of Sliding Hill. Looked pretty nasty, right? So that's that whole area there. So, but right now, all the tornado warnings have been expired, we'll continue to stay on top of that for us.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. And again, we just had that severe thunderstorm warning now down here to the south. This severe thunderstorm warning right here, effectively, if they let the tornado warning go, don't worry about the severe thunderstorm warning because that storm's moving out. So again, this is, I think, the next thing we'll see if they downstream anything in towards Williamsburg area. And then we have this severe thunderstorm warning that has been trimmed down now. Okay, lost the western end of this. So this severe thunderstorm warning, okay, they have taken Colonial Heights is kind of out of it. Well, Colonial Heights actually still in it. It's right along the border right there. But again, they've taken essentially west of 85 out, really almost 301 out of it here. So these storms are on top of 301. There's New Bohemia right there in 295. So I think really, most of western Dinwiddie you're fine. Petersburg you're fine. Colonial Heights you're fine. I really think Hopewell's in decent shape too, except for areas off to the east going down Route 10 eastward out of this. So it's been a very busy afternoon. Again, tornado watch is still in effect, but
trimming back.
It's being trimmed back, I am sure, areas to the west of us here. They had trimmed back some of it earlier on over us. So
I'll pull that up in just a second, John. But just to reiterate, we came on the air about 40 minutes ago for tornado warning for the northern neck. And we do have, based on reports here, based on radar information, potentially time estimated from radar, possible tornado, 409, 1 mile west-northwest of Heathville, Northumberland County. Structural damage reported, including roof and siding damage. It's on 360 in Heathville, so hopefully we'll know that. You asked about the tornado warning, so if you give me 1 second.
The tornado watch. Go ahead and pop that.
I'll just quickly throw that up there, and we'll see what we have going on. So everything in yellow is a tornado watch. So right now, it has pretty much been expired. Powhatan, Goochland, Amelia, Blackstone, South Hill. So really, what we're looking at, John, is if I grab my pen tool here, this line, whoops, I missed the pen tool one more time. There we go. That line there, as this moves east, we're pretty much just expiring those.
Just boom, 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 dropping them on, just lopping them off behind it as it goes through.
And we said today that 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. was going to be that 4-hour window where it's going to be fast and furious, and that's exactly what we've been seeing.
What it has been, and again, so I would say that, Metro Richmond, Chesterfield County, while the watch is still in effect for you, I can see that watch being taken down.
In about 5 seconds,
Well, not.
You know what I'm saying.
Well, folks, it's government work. They're not as speedy as that. Okay, I know the Weather Service, good friends of ours, but what it is they will probably take that down in about an hour from right now. That'll be canceled for us here across Central Virginia. So again, the warning that's down here, Sussex and Surrey County, that's done. Now all we're left with is this warning. The strongest storm is now up here, moving into Charles City County. So Charles City County, maybe New Kent County, we might see a severe thunderstorm coming your way. Again, no big shear for us here across the region. If we take a look at the shear rate, that right there by Rootville, there's shear, but it's right at the very edge of the rainfall, so I'm not worried about it. I think that's just contaminated data, and the velocity data, it just isn't showing a whole lot out through this. So this would be the next one. I think this would be maybe gusty winds or possibly maybe a little bit of hail possible in that, but I don't even think the hail signature looks very impressive. That hail signature is very minor from this storm. So this is the last warning that's in effect. That's got the western part of Charles City. That's until we get to 445. Over us there and moving on out of the way. But again, when we go into the center part of Charles City, so you're over here by Charles City Courthouse, Ruthville, you're taking the highway up by the Charles City County School System. It's got the Dollar General on the left, takes you over the bridge when you go into Northumberland County, the Wakey Howard Bridge, Sheriff Wakey Howard. Up there, who's been retired, a longtime friend of mine. Used to sit in front of me at the U of R. Used to sit in front of me at the U of R. No, he sat behind me at the U of R basketball games. The minister sat in front of me. Up through here, and then take you up over towards Providence Forge in this location along US 60. So again, this is the strongest storm that is left right now over the region and that we've got here. So again, tornado warnings have expired. Severe thunderstorm warning is expiring over us. We have reports of damage, possibly tornadic damage up in Northumberland County. Also got a new report right there. Matt, you're looking at it. Go pop that one up by
this one right here. Yeah, so this one is the power lines down near Church Road and Dacia Road. This is up in Essex County.
Yeah, Brace Forks, south of
Tappahannock. Brace Forks, exactly. Yeah, so that's that whole same line that came through.
That came through, went all the way through. And again, those are the storms
that started all the way back in
here.
Amelia, Powhatan.
Yep.
Kept working across.
Ashland.
Yep, pumped up, pumped down, Atlee, then Western King William, and then worked their way into the northern neck. And we
Tyler, yell it out.
Yeah, we got another report out of Northumberland County, Callio, possible tornado, multiple damage to homes on Owltown Road, several trees and power lines down.
Okay.
So again, let me just repeat that because Tyler does have a mic on.
Yep.
And it's Owltown Road in the area of Callio. Numerous,
off of 360.
Off of 360. Numerous homes damaged from this potential tornado. In fact, they'll just turn this off and on, see if we can get a new marker on that, and see if we can get a little pop up here. Not in yet, so it's going to be almost in the same area.
Yeah, it's going to take. I think it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to populate on there.
But still, point is,
Yeah, but it's right up in that location. It's right up in that location. Again, that was that storm. Again, as we said, that was the one that started the whole game off for us here and got things going as we came through. We've been watching this throughout the afternoon for you. Again, West Point right now, no warning for you. Heavy rainfall over there. Roxbury. Okay, the storm here has moved. The strongest storm has moved out of Charles City. These are just plain old showers over us here. And the one thing I want you to note, you notice I've got the lightning turned on. Minimal lightning strikes. Minimal lightning strikes, folks.
Yeah.
Minimal lightning strikes over us here. In a way, it was kind of like when we had Hurricane Isabel came through. We had virtually no lightning associated with Isabel at all associated with the storm. And there's a little outflow right there in this boundary. So again, the warning's now pretty much done, over with for us here. That one is completely done. They're just going to let it go away in 5 minutes. It'll pop off the screen. And I imagine this one is going to disappear also. Although my concern for the next 30 minutes or so is going to be this area right here from West Point down through Charles City County. So again, we are kind of away from basically central New Kent County down here. So this area here, these storms are going off in this direction. Okay, so they are going to head up again to the southeast side of West Point and over in that area, head over towards where they do the skydiving from. The airport up there where they do they do a lot of the skydiving up there in West Point in that area. And of course, we got the storm that's going into Williamsburg. This one coming in towards Williamsburg, it looks like Matt, really looks like this one is just falling apart.
It really has, yeah. Which was the one that, of course, came through Surrey that had the rotation, and we didn't like the way it looked as it approached the radar site. But yeah, has really fallen apart. So I agree with you.
There's no shear with it?
There's nothing.
Nothing.
And I'm scanning the whole skies. I am not seeing anything right now that looks indicative of, ramping up. But that doesn't mean it can't happen. But I do agree with you, John. When you look at the bright pink here outside of the storm that has the Warren and Hopewell moving towards 64, I think that this is the area that we're going to concern ourselves with. I can talk West Point and the western side of the Middle Peninsula.
Yeah, and now just thinking about, there's storms to the east of us, but let's take a look at what's going on out west. Okay, just a chance. We got a few heavier showers here that are reforming right along the actual front. This is the area down around Martinsville, north of Danville, up here as we head over towards Smith Mountain Lake. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. But the good news is the showers that have come through here have kind of dampened out the atmosphere a little bit, taken out a little bit of the energy over us here. So that's going to help us out also as we come through. But there may be, some action off to the west of us. Again, there's a warning down here, North Carolina, the severe thunderstorm warning right here. Matt.
All right, John, you're going to get ready for 8 News at 4. I'll take it over for just a couple of minutes. So again, we're going to continue to watch this one severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Prince George County and also for Petersburg, although it's really now to the north and east of Petersburg, Charles City County. You see the showers and storms for you. We do have, of course, this area of heavy rain that we're watching moving between Route 60, Williamsburg Road, all the way out to 64, crossing Charles City, New Kent County, up toward areas like West Point and Roman Coke. These are going to be the areas that we're going to watch as this continues to strengthen for the next couple of, let's say, 2 hours or so. Because again, the thing we thought was this is going to be from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. was the total strength here, total time of this getting stronger. So something to keep in mind. So that's what we're looking at. Again, this is going to be the area. And right now, this area that we're watching does not have anything super severe with it. We're watching certainly the potential for some quick, heavy downpours. We're watching that, again, when you look at in and out of that severe thunderstorm warning. But when we talk about the potential for severe strong winds or really anything damaging at this point, that is not what we're seeing when you're looking at shear rate, velocity, or any of our other products at this point. So I'll continue to monitor things behind the scenes. I know we're going to begin 8 News at 4, joining it, of course, in progress. Heather and Deanna are standing by along with JB. So I think at this point, we're going to send it over to Heather and Deanna for 8 News at 4.
Live with the news where you live. This is 8 News at 4.
You are watching 8 News at 4, and of course we are, as Matt DiNardo just said, keeping an eye on those severe storms sweeping through central Virginia this evening.
And we've been told strong winds, heavy rain, flooding, and perhaps even more have already been concerns tonight.
And Heather, you could see how gloomy it was right there, the clouds that we're seeing live on our weather cam. It is certainly not looking great out there, but we have eyes on all of this tonight.
Very ominous looking. Again, you're watching 8 News at 4. I'm Heather.